All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks, my weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Now, here in week number 7, didn't get started on the right foot. I picked the New York Giants to go on the road and defeat the Philadelphia Eagles by a point. But on the flip side, it was the Eagles who defeated the Giants by a point. The Giants, of course, found a way to blow an 11-point lead late in that contest as they fell to their NFC East brethren, and now they are sitting at 1-6. But with that said, there are some tremendous games on tap for tomorrow as well as the Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 7 in the NFL season. Now you're going to have the 2-3 Detroit Lions traveling to Atlanta to take on the 1-5 Falcons. Atlanta got their first victory of the season last week, and it came under interim head coach Raheem Morris as the Falcons finally lived up to their potential. Atlanta still dealing with some injuries, and at times they have been unable to get out of their way. Same can be said for the Detroit Lions. I mean, they've been an up and down team, and what we've seen from them during the tenure of Matt Patricia as their head coach is a team that will simply go out there and find a way to lose. I think that trend will continue tomorrow. I think Atlanta will look to build off of the momentum that they developed last week with their victory over the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm going to take the Falcons at home by the score of 27-23. Now, in the AFC North, you're going to have the 4-2 Cleveland Browns traveling to take on the 1-4-1 Cincinnati Bengals. Now, for Cleveland, they were taken behind the woodshed last week on the road, courtesy of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a second meeting between the Browns and Bengals this year. And if you go back to the earlier meeting, these Bengals gave the Browns everything that they can handle. Now, Cleveland got away from being able to run the football effectively last week, and I think with head coach Kevin Stefanski, he's going to get back to that this week. So I think you're going to see a heavy dose of this Browns running game to take some of the pressure off of quarterback Baker Mayfield. But this Browns defense, what they've got to do, this is their second time around versus rookie quarterback Joe Burrow. They got to go out there and make him uncomfortable because they did not do it the first time around. Burrow was very, very comfortable in the pocket, and he was able to consistently get the football down the field. Cleveland will have to make the adjustment. It's once again going to be a tough game, but I'm going to take the Browns at home by the score of 31-24. Now, a big-time showdown in the AFC, as you're going to have the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Nashville to take on the undefeated Tennessee Titans. Both of these teams have what it takes to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this season. You look at teams with solid defense. They can also run the football, and they are well coached. And you look at the Steelers team, everything has come into play this season now that Ben Roethlisberger is healthy and back at quarterback. We look at the emergence of rookie Marcus Claypool at wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You look at the running game with James Conner, and you look at this defense. Now, the Titans can play some defense as well. It was a little tough for them last week at home versus the Houston Texans. But, of course, we know where Tennessee's bread is buttered, and that is by running back Derrick Henry. And for the Steelers in this contest, what they're going to have to do, easier said than done. They've got to try to find a way to neutralize Derrick Henry. It's easier said than done, but this Pittsburgh Steelers, they're physical, and they're going to be up for the challenge, even though it could be a long afternoon. I misspoke a little earlier. I said Marcus Claypool. I meant Chase Claypool, the rookie out of Notre Dame. But for the Titans, their defense, they did give up a lot of points last Sunday versus the Houston Texans, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go out there and try to follow that same recipe and try to get at this Titans defense in the air, because especially we know with what Tennessee can do up front with their front seven, you don't want to allow them to get comfortable and dictate things. This is going to be a back and forth affair. Mike Tomlin and his Steelers will be ready for the challenge, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh on the road by the score of 30-26. Now, in the NFC South, you're going to have the 3-3 Carolina Panthers traveling to the Superdome in New Orleans to take on the 3-2 New Orleans Saints. Big time showdown in this division as both of these teams have their sights on first place. You look at the Saints, It's been up and down this year. You hear the Michael Thomas trade rumors right now. They've also been dealing with injuries. There are people saying that Drew Brees doesn't have it anymore. But with it all said and done, they're 3-2, and they find themselves right in the mix to win this division once more. This Carolina Panthers team, under first-year head coach Matt Rule, lost their first 2 contests of the season. They won 3 straight before they fell to the Chicago Bears at home last Sunday. For the Panthers, what they want to do, they want to get off to a hot start. They don't want to fall behind versus New Orleans in this contest, especially on the road. I know that there aren't fans there, but Carolina plays a lot different when they are ahead as opposed to in chase mode. So that's a big time aspect for what they're going to have to do. I think Carolina will give New Orleans all that they can handle, but I'm going to take the Saints at home in this contest by the score of 30-24. Now at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, it's going to be the 4-2 Buffalo Bills taking on the winless New York Jets. Buffalo comes into this game favored by 10 points. I know that they had some tight ends who tested positive for COVID-19, but you look at the fact that Buffalo has one of the most stingiest defenses in the NFL. They're taking on a Jets team that's not good. The Jets struggled on every facet of the game last Sunday versus the Miami Dolphins, and now you're going to ask a immobile veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco to go out there and try to navigate one of the best defenses in the NFL. 2 words: good luck. And for all of you fantasy buffs out there, if you have this Bills defense on your fantasy team, you definitely want to start them in this game. The Jets didn't get the 10 points last week. I don't see them getting the 10 points again. And if you can't score 10 points in the NFL, I don't care who you are, you're not going to win. I'm going to take Buffalo in a wash in this one by the score of 34-13. Now down in Landover, Maryland, you're going to have the 1-5 Washington football team hosting the 2-4 Dallas Cowboys. And don't look now, first place is on the line in this contest and the NFC least. For Dallas, hands down, they have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. We saw them taking on the chin this past Monday night versus the Arizona Cardinals at home, and that's not a good way to get things started with Andy Dalton under center right now. For Dallas, I know that they have injuries, but they got to go out there and try to run the football. Ezekiel Elliott has to take care of the ball, and Andy Dalton cannot be sloppy with the football as well. We've seen Washington struggles on offense as well. However, they are playing against the poorest Dallas defense, so we'll have to see what happens in this game. I want to see what type of pride that the Cowboys come out in this game. They are the better team on paper, but Dallas doesn't play like it most of the time. You see some players anonymously complain about new head coach Mike McCarthy, which is not good. But this is a pride factor game for the Dallas Cowboys. If they have any pride, they're going to go out there and take care of their business. I think they will, and I'm going to take Dallas on the road by the score of 30-24. Now, it's going to be the 1-5 Houston Texans hosting the 4-1 Green Bay Packers. Green Bay comes into this contest favored by 1.5 points, and they're looking to get back on track after they suffered their first loss of the season last week as they took it on the chin versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First and foremost, you got to protect number 12, and I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. So how do you do that? You got to try to find a way to neutralize veteran defensive end J.J. Watt for the Texans. What will the Packers do? I think you're going to see more of the running game from Green Bay in this contest to take a lot of the load off of Aaron Rodgers and also dictate things. Now, Deshaun Watson, the young quarterback for the Texans, he's gotten it going in recent weeks. He gave the Texans an opportunity to win last week. Of course, the controversial 2-point attempt late, which was the decision by interim head coach Romeo Crennel, did lead to the Texans leaving the door open for the Titans to come back into that game, tie it, and eventually go to overtime and win. Deshaun Watson has his confidence, of course, no Duke Hopkins anymore, but he is starting to spread the football around to his other wide receivers, and he wants to try to do that again to keep some pressure on this Packers defense. I think this has the makings to be one of, if not the best game of the weekend. And I think the last team with the football wins. I think it's going to be the green and gold. Thus, I'm going to take the Pack on the road by the score of 34-27. A big one that people are talking about out in Vegas. You're going to have the 4-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers rolling into town to take on the 3-2 Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are coming into this game fresh off of their bye, and they do have plenty of momentum. Why? Because they handed the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs their first loss of the season. What the Raiders are going to have to do first and foremost, consistently move the chains, run the football effectively, and convert on third down, just like it was against Kansas City. Why? Because In order to do that, you're keeping Tom Brady and that Bucs offense off the field. That's a big time factor. The Raiders defense, they were up against for the challenge versus Kansas City. Will they be up for the challenge again versus this Bucs offense? We'll have to wait and see. I think this is going to be a back and forth affair. It's one of those games where the last team that has a football will win. I think that's Las Vegas in this situation, and I'm going to take the Raiders in an upset at home by the score of 30-28. Now you're going to have the 5-1 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the Mile High City to take on the 2-3 Denver Broncos. KC comes into this contest favored by 7.5 points, and after they suffered their first loss of the season to the Raiders 2 weeks ago, they got back on track this past Monday night and handled their business on the road versus the Buffalo Bills. We saw a new wrinkle in the Kansas City offense this past Monday, as it was the running game that led them to victory over the Bills. Now, the Broncos do have a solid defense, but if Denver tries to go out there and neutralizes Kansas City offense by stopping their run, they could beat you through the air. However, game time temperature at 21 degrees, potential of snow. I think it's going to be one of those situations where Andy Reid, the Chiefs head coach, will look to try to run the football again and dare the Broncos to stop him. A whole lot of nothing going on offense for the Broncos, and that will be the reason why they will fall short in this contest. Thus, I'm going to take KC on the road by the score of 30-16. Now, in Foxborough, you're going to have the 2-3 New England Patriots hosting the 3-3 San Francisco 49ers. Both of these teams are desperate for a win, especially the Patriots, as they do not want to get lost in the shuffle any further in the AFC playoff picture. They're hopeful to have a healthy and effective Cam Newton under center, but where is the quality play going to come from wide receiver for the Patriots in this contest? We'll have to wait and see. This Patriots defense, they have to be up for the challenge of slowing down this 49ers offense with so many interchangeable parts, and I think this is going to be a back and forth chess match throughout, and one hiccup here or there by either team is going to make the difference, because this game is going to come down to field position, special teams, and of course turnovers. I think New England finds a way to eke it out and get back on the winning track, as I'm going to take the Pats at home by the score of 20-19. Now you're going to have the 1-4 Los Angeles Chargers hosting the 1-5 Jacksonville Jaguars, as the loser of this game more than likely will have an inside track at getting a top 10 pick in the 2021 draft. For Jacksonville, they won their first game of the season, and it's been downhill ever since. I don't see them trying to being able to get back on track, because they simply keep finding ways to hinder what they're trying to do. You look at the Chargers, they're 1-4, but Justin Herbert, the rookie quarterback out of Oregon, has been solid, spreading the football around. The Chargers are running the football effectively, and I think they are going to be up for the challenge defensively to get after Jags quarterback Gardner Minshew, which means that you should see a healthy dose of Nick Bosa up front. Also, the likes of Melvin Ingram putting the pressure on Minshew. And I think that's going to be the difference in this one, is I'm going to take the Lightning Bolts at home by the score of 30-23. Now, on Sunday Night Football, a big-time showdown in the NFC West, as you're going to have the undefeated Seattle Seahawks traveling to the desert to take on the 4-2 Arizona Cardinals. Big-time win for Arizona this past Monday night as they flexed their muscles on the road versus the Dallas Cowboys. However, this time around, this Cardinals defense has to tangle with Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, who is playing like an MVP. Now, Seattle's defense has had their issues. Jamal Adams has been out with injuries, and you have to wonder if the Seahawks defense will be able to find a way to slow down the youngster at quarterback for the Cards in Kyler Murray. If this Seahawks defense cannot get to Murray, I look for him to have a big-time night throwing the football to the likes of Duke Hopkins, who will definitely put some pressure on the Seahawks secondary. Russell Wilson, like I said, he's playing like an MVP, and I think he's going to have his team up for the challenge, as I'm going to take Seattle to win on Sunday night by the score of 34-23. And finally, on Monday night in Inglewood, you're going to have the 4-2 Los Angeles Rams hosting the 5-1 Chicago Bears. It has not been pretty so far for the Chicago Bears, but the bottom line is, as long as you get your hand raised, that's all that matters matters in the NFL. The Bears play solid defense. They don't defeat themselves with turnovers, and that's going to be big going up against this Rams team. Aaron Donald hasn't had the sack so far this season, but this right here has the potential to be a breakout game for him to disrupt things for this Bears offense and quarterback Nick Foles. Jared Goff, after a down 2019, is starting to bounce back here in 2020. He's been solid. He's part of the reason why the Rams are 4-2. And as long as he plays within the realm of the offense, the Rams will be 5-2. I think this is going to be a good one, but the Rams are going to be tough at home, and I'm going to take them over the Bears by the score of 27-20. So folks, those are my picks for week number 7 here in the 2020 NFL season. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, for all of my subscribers out there, I want to thank you for the love and the support. And if you have not subscribed to this channel already, please feel free to do at this time. Also, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.